day, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Santa Fe Public Schools podcast. I am Joe Abeyta, and today we have the principal of the Early College Opportunities High School, Josh Rhine. How you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, brother. Appreciate it. We spent a lot of time together these last couple of weeks going out there and doing all the videotaping and, the recording of all the promos and, showing off the school and all that. And I'll tell you what, man, it's a really nice facility.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great to, open up the new facility at the end of last school year in May and get a little test drive of the new building and, getting the students in there into that new facility, having the academic teachers have brand new classrooms, having some computer labs, science labs, the gym. It's been a nice transition, and can't wait for the next year so we can get completely in there and get things going.
Yeah, and you had mentioned in the video, and folks, the video is now available. You can watch it on all our social media accounts, SFPS accounts. You can check it out because we do a really great visual. We have some nice drone shots, and we kind of show off the school. But there's just so much more that we didn't show in there that we couldn't fit into a 3-minute video. But man, I'll tell you what, you guys really have not spared any expense with the support for the students, for the classrooms, for the opportunities that kids will have over at your school.
Yeah, I think that when the school was planned, it was a little bit before me, and then when I came in, I got to give some of my input, but I don't think that there was anything that was overlooked. Try to think about, the growth of the school and how we can grow into the building. Mm-hmm. And then also, add like little touches, like we have a lot of natural light. So in one of our commons area, we have a screen that comes down from the ceiling, and we had to get a special screen because of the lighting. Yeah. We had to get a special projector. So there was things that were thought out throughout the school that, we can grow into and use in the future.
So let's talk about this, because the school, for folks that don't know, is the old, and during my time at Santa Fe High, it was the Votech, right? And then it turned into South Campus. Right. But essentially, when the school first started, it was the old structure of Votech with the orange paneling. Right. And then you had like across the street of that first Zia entrance, there was like the auto center, and then the greenhouse and things like that were there. And then you guys had portables, right? Right. But you guys were essentially dealing with a 1980s structure, right?
At the very least, yeah.
At the very least. And you were, and the kids were adapting to that, right? The students were adapting because you had some portables too. Right. And you were teaching, and you were doing full function school. You had graduations, all that stuff went on there. And so, I mean, that's challenging, right? Even as a principal, I know that Mike Hagley was there right before you, and then you came in. Yep. But you were still dealing with those structural challenges, if you will, right?
Yeah, the limitations of having portables and aging facilities or whatever comes with a lot of interesting challenges, to say the least. Yeah. We always were trying to keep, I think, from the inception of the Eco High School to have that college vibe. Yeah. So because the portables were spread out or whatever, you kind of got you have to travel to your class and across the, if you will, the quad or whatnot. So I'll tell you what, when the weather was a little suspect, you'd see some kids running or not wanting to leave one class to have to go from on a downpour, get those weird rains at the end of the year. So that was interesting and made it kind of fun and unique. But, with, like you said, with the aging facilities, whether the 80s or 70s or whatever, they just, heating, cooling, all that stuff.
No, I gotcha. I mean, I was part of the, I went to Santa Fe High in the 80s, graduated in 90, but we still had the portables on the west side. So you'd be traveling, you'd have majority of your classes would be in the portables, with the exception of biology and stuff like that. So, I do get it. It had that It's functional though, and it does
Yeah.
it. But I'll tell you this: nothing more better to keep the morale up of the students to have a brand new facility like you guys have now.
Absolutely. You know, when you have the aging facilities or whatever, it's kind of like, well, we got the leftovers, or we are the, I don't even know, the stepchild, I guess is a poor way of saying it, but we're the, you know, less than school. But, you know, I think our students realize once they're in there, and I mentioned this in the video that's, you know, out on the social media, that, you know, the magic is in the shops. Once the kids get into the classes or whatever, they're like, oh wow, we might have, you know, we might be in this portable, but we got this $30,000 laser cutter that we're going to use, and they don't have that at Santa Fe High or wherever. So you know, that would get the kids exciting. But it's really a, you know, I've used a lot of like tours or open houses for recruiting students, and I used to always say, like, before we go and you see the magic or whatever word I use at that moment, you know, behind and that's what sells the school. But now, you know, with the technology that we're using with the video that was put out or whatnot, now people get a glimpse behind the scenes a little bit and see how amazing things are. And now we have the, you know, the nice
beautiful
building.
school.
Yeah. And, you know, some of the limitations that you spoke about with, you know, the portables, whatnot, one thing that I had a challenge with was student parking. You know, I never even really think of that until just now, but now we have a beautiful parking lot for the students or whatnot. We're just like, you can park over there. And so that was, you know, an interesting thing where other schools, you buy your parking pass, you have a spot, you're good to go.
Well, and here's another thing too, is that the school under that thrived, right? Enough to say, hey, we're growing, we need a facility, which was awesome, right? Because we made do with what we had and we did it, but now we have a new facility with that. And let me just, I want to point out to this, is that I really love the way that the new building has really, I don't know, thrown a little bit of the design and also has kept the hallowed grounds of the old facilities, right, of the shops, has incorporated in. Like it's just a quick walkway to that old facility. Like, you're not saying we're forgetting about that at all for the shops, because you're right. That's where the magic happened. And you think about it, you know, think about all the students that have gone there. It's kind of a tribute to everybody that has gone to that school since it was called Votech, which I think is really special, right? Because these are the folks that are the folks that have learned those trades, that have gone on to work and serve the community of Santa Fe, right?
Right. And I mentioned that a little bit, again, going back to our promoting our video that you produced and put out on social media. But I speak a little bit about how we get visited by folks in our community that are business leaders, and they express how they came from Votech, or even some of the younger folks are like, I was one of the first students at ECO, or I was at South Campus. So, you know, now those community leaders and business owners or whatnot are coming and checking it out. When I had the open house, I had a gentleman that was in my group when I was giving a tour, and he was an older guy, and he was like, we buried a time capsule over here on this part of the campus when they first broke ground. You mind if I go look over there and see where the trees are or whatever after the open house? And I absolutely opened up the gates for him and showed him where it was. And he said, I'll be back. But, you know, it's those folks that come back and remember their experiences at Votech, South Campus, even ECO, the last few years. It's those folks that are keeping, you know, the word of mouth and really promoting the school for us. And then, you know, now with our technology, like I said, being able to, you know, get some footage of the campus or whatever out there to the community that may be unable to come to open houses or may not even know, you know, that we even exist. So I think that's really awesome. But I think that, like you're saying, the tribute to the old, when you walk through the new building, the new facility, we have the open ceilings. You can see the old structure, the floor, the concrete floor. It's polished, but you can see the remnants of the old building. There's a lot of the old structure there, and I like to say we kept the bones and just, like, you know, refurbished it. But when you talk about
little hints of orange too in the bathrooms, orange tile, and we had said, "Hey, is this a tribute to the orange buildings?" And you were like, "I don't know, but it's a nice touch."
It kind of does work. And as you're talking about, when you're moving from one building to the other, they're close enough that it just kind of flows. And like when I mentioned that. Things were well thought out. That's one of the things that was well thought out. So the transition from the trades classrooms into the new eco facility, it's like really just seconds to cross through a nice quad that's there's nice trees and stuff. And then I think the drone footage in our video really shows how close in the transition between the facilities, and I think that's great. And the students were able to pop, over pretty quickly. And there's not like, I don't have enough time to get to my classes. They're right there. So I think, you hit the nail on the head when you say, it's just paying tributes, I guess.
Yeah,
is there with the facilities being meshed together, but I think it was very well thought out. The placement of the building was like always there, but even some of the new add-ons, like they added on a new section where my office is or whatnot, and it's just right there, part of the school, and you can just flow. And I think that it has that quad college vibe. It
does,
and it's just not as far. The students were like traveling, all over the place with the portables being just placed where they had to be. So I think like I said, they didn't overthink or underthink everything. It was well thought out.
Yeah, no, definitely. It is. It's a classy facility, that's for sure. And just going through there, very impressed. And I think that you're right. I mean, if any parent or student, prospective student, would want to go and visit, they would be very impressed with everything, including the shops. The Imagineering part of eco, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. So let's get to that. Let's get to that next question that I wanted to ask is, what can a student expect going over there? What can an incoming student expect going to eco? What puts you apart from a regular school?
So what makes eco or early college opportunities high school different than a traditional high school is the opportunity to experience hands-on learning through career technical education, and the opportunity to get to take classes on campus for dual credit, as well as the opportunity to tie those classes to community college or college courses. And then on top of that, since I've been there, we've really been trying to beef up the industry certifications. And that's one thing that, we're really working on and we're promoting, is that you can get industry certification from Early College Opportunities High School.
What kind of industry? What are we talking about?
So we're looking at, you can get a certification in welding. You can now, starting this next academic school year, we worked with ASE, which, certifies all the mechanics in the shops. That's what you want. You want to have an ASE certification. So starting this school year, we have the ability to have students test for certifications in auto mechanics and in auto collision. And that's something that we haven't had in the past. So we've been really trying to do that. And then also in our computer science class, it's a dual credit class, but once you complete it, you can choose to take the industry certification, and you can be certified in hardware or software.
That's awesome. I wanted to mention that you talked about auto collision, but you have a state champion.
We do.
That's pretty amazing in auto collision, which I don't think a lot of people know. There are competitions, and you have a state champion who is.
Yeah, so we have Precious Romero.
Yep.
So female student. She won the state championship in Skills USA, which is a competition in Albuquerque, and that's the state competition. We actually took first, second, and third in auto collision. And currently, two of our students are participating in the national.
In Atlanta.
In Atlanta, the national competition for Skills USA. So hopefully they can, do well. With Skills USA, there's a high school portion and there's a college portion. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of folks there were saying, our kids are up to standard with some of the college students that are taking these classes to get into industry. So I mean that's something to hang our hat on, and we're one of the, only auto collision, full auto collision programs, around right now. They have parts, bits and pieces of auto collision curriculum around the state, but we have the full shebang when it comes to doing the auto collision.
And definitely the facilities are amazing. Chris Cordes,
right?
Is just an amazing. His staff too. Are Samantha out there? I don't know Sam's last name, but she definitely is out there. You guys have just an awesome facility out there for auto mechanics, for auto collision, and for mechanics. It's just bar none, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. We've been able through the years, because it was the Votech high school and South Campus, whatever. A lot of being like a legacy program like that with those core trades classes that have been offered. They've been able to acquire literally a lifetime's worth of tools and equipment, and obviously some things like age out. But because they've always had a program like that here in Santa Fe Public Schools, it was able to weather the storm, so to speak, and keep funding from different sources to get some of those big ticket items, if you will. So it's really amazing, and that's what really I think sets us apart, is because it's a legacy program, and I never really thought of it that way until right now, but it's definitely a legacy here in Santa Fe. And because of that and what it means to some of the folks that have come through, like there's people that come and volunteer, there's people that make donations, they hear about it, they're like, you should help that facility out. So that's been what's nice, and that's what sets us apart. Because if we were just going to go ahead and try to start this program, I'm looking down at Rio Rancho, and they're trying to start a program.
You're talking millions of dollars, right, to start that.
Crazy money that
it is.
Just wouldn't be around, without tons of business partners, tons of grants or whatever, which are very hard to, secure at times, because everybody is trying to get a grant. Everybody's trying to ask businesses to partner up with them. So I feel like we're very lucky to have some of these legacy programs.
Who's the other auto mechanic teacher out there?
So we have John Seymour.
He's been there a while, right, too?
He's been there quite a few years, So we're lucky to have a very strong staff, and that's what makes the programs. It's nothing that, we can make all the videos and I can do all the promos. I'm just the principal guy, but what really makes the program run is the staff, and we've had a solid staff at ECO for many years before me, and even when I've had to add staff or whatever, we've been lucky enough to acquire the right fit, because when you're trying to run a school, you need to find the folks that basically take on the identity of what you're trying to do, or at least buy into it. So we have those folks in place, and they're the ones that make the magic happen, really, is the staff.
And I think I'll tell you this, man, being, both of us know this. I mean, it's been a while since we've been teenagers, but to be able to have that focus of what you want to do, right? It's a craft, right? Some people have a passion to be filmmakers. Some people have a passion to be accountants or whatever, and then some have a passion to be plumbers or work in the auto industry. And I feel like with the programs over there at ECO, also with the dual credit that they can get at Santa Fe Community College, they're really starting on their future right away at a young age, and they're passionate at it, right? And there's nothing stopping them from doing that, which I think is, it's not economics, home economics or whatever. It's, if you have the will to do it and the passion to do it, we're going to make it happen for you over there, right?
Right. And, I like to always say, well, you can come choose from a menu of classes. We have a menu of classes, and choose your own adventure, so to speak. And I encourage all students.
I love those books, by the way, bro. I meant to tell you that. I was always a big fan of those.
Yeah, so you come, you choose your own adventure. If you're there and I want to be a mechanic, unfortunately have to, because we're such a small school right now, I have to force students to dip into some other areas. But sometimes like, I didn't even know I was going to like welding, or I didn't know I was going to like design or whatnot. I think that's important because we are working with young people, and I've seen young people that have had their mindset on being whatever it was and go straight into it. Then I've seen young people, even myself when I was younger, change their minds quite a bit because like, oh, I like this, I like that. So really encourage students to try different things. And the way, our courses kind of overlap with each other, like, well, if you want to be a welder, like you should take the design class, or you should take the auto collision class or whatever, because you're still building on the same skills. So since we have programs that, overlap, it's really been easy for me to be like, hey, well, I know you're here for welding, but, you do welding and auto collision, or you need to know how to use the plasma cutter, and the laser cutter in design uses the same software. So go learn how to work the machines in design, and then you take those skills back into welding,
And you bring up welding. Was it Chris or you that had said there was some, I think there's like, it's not national, it's like a worldwide or a worldwide or universal certification for welding?
Right. Yeah, so what we do...
you can go and get a a anywhere in the world as a welder. That's insane. Talk about job security, man.
Right. So don't quote me completely on this, but I believe it's an international certification.
That's what I was looking for. Not worldwide, but international.
So what we do with our welding class, is, the students can choose to take a high school version of welding with us, and then go ahead and take the next class at the community college, which has a great welding program. Or off and on we offer welding for dual credit. So sometimes you can take the entry level class with us, just depending on the semester, and get the college credit. But what we do is in the spring, usually around late April, early May, we've had students that we ask, do you want to, you have some good skills, would you like to try for the certification? And when I say that, it doesn't necessarily mean that it can't be a 9th grader that has a lot of skill, a 10th, 11th. This is whenever the students feel comfortable and the teacher kind of comes to them. Yeah. And, I always say, like, all right, how many kids do you have for us? So this past year, we did 17 certifications. So we have a gentleman that comes in, and he is from AWS, and he's the certifier for most of New Mexico. Okay. Yeah, so we call him in, and he comes in, and he's from the outside, so it's not like our teachers are just signing off. Yeah. He is the man. He does the certifications for the community college. He's the guy that if you work for the city and you need to get certified, he's the dude. He's the dude. Yeah. So he comes in, and the students practice. They have all these different things that they have to show him, and they do this bend test on their welds, and like if it doesn't fracture a certain way, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm an expert. Yeah, I gotcha. But, it meets certain specs, and then they make it. And what's really nice about the gentleman that comes down, I'll give a shout out to him. His name's Michael Thomas. He comes down. He is very patient, and he'll say, you didn't make it this time, but this is what I saw, and this is how you can potentially fix it or whatever. And they work with the teacher, and it's like, cool. You had a couple students that didn't make it on their first time, and they were bummed, but then they got a second chance the next year, So, like I said, we had 17 students this year. Every year the number's been going up, but there's some kids that haven't taken the dual credit classes and got their certification. They've just learned at ECO, and they acquire enough skill to get certified. There's a lot of certifications, so we've had a couple students that have gotten all of the welding certifications. Wow. And got the Santa Fe Community College certificate. So what that means is they've taken all the classes you can take in welding. If they want to get an associate's, they just have to take like their math and English and stuff like that. So we had a couple students this year that walked in the Santa Fe Community College commencement, and then a couple days later walked in their high school commencement. So wow, that's pretty awesome. We're doing some good stuff. So like I said, when you choose your own adventure, there's kids that want to acquire the dual credits. There's kids that just want to acquire certifications, and then we have a select few that just want to get good at working with tools, and their plans are to go to college and do some other type of job. But I'm like, if you can fix things around your house or tinker with your own car, or maybe have a skill to fall back on if you go into, I always pick on accounting or, being a teacher or whatever. You go into those and like, oh, I had some skills. I know how to weld. Well, maybe I could be a welding teacher. Maybe, I can make some good money out there in the real world and start my own welding business or whatever. So I think we have really, a couple of groups of students, and one of the groups is the students that just want to acquire a bunch of skills and take a lot of fun classes while they're in high school. Yeah, and they like the hands-on and get
that's dirty,
cool. So we have those folks, and then the ones that want to acquire all the college credits they can. I mean, we've had kids that have graduated from eco that were interested in areas that we didn't have, and we were able to get them certified. We have kids that took film. We have kids that have taken culinary classes, like just whatever they're interested in. So when we talk about we do dual credit or whatever, we also work with the students. And we have a woman, her name is Diane Pierce. She's our community liaison, and her job is to work with students and the community to either do internships, mentorships, or dual credit. And she does a good job of meeting with the students. And if there's something they're interested in and we don't have it, we help get them signed up for dual credit classes, during their junior and senior year or after school or during the summer. So, we have kids that wanted to work on film sets, and the program they went through is slipping my mind, but they were certified by like 60 something hours, and they did like,
that's like union, right? To be part of the union, or
right, and they learned like doing boom, they did the sound, all the different stuff, and I was like, wow, that was great. And so we had a student that was going to go ahead, and this has been a couple years ago, just go straight into working on
in the film industry.
And so
there's a need for that, believe it or not, here in New Mexico, is finding a lot of production assistants or just a film crew, because it's just a really basic thing of showing up on time,
right,
and staying off your phone and doing what you're told during the film set, and then just being pleasant and happy to be there. Right. It's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
And when you do that with any job, really, you're gonna say, wow, this person's interested in doing it. You're gonna move up,
Absolutely.
quickly.
And I think what gets lost when I start get excited speaking about eco and all the great things that we have on the campus, but we're also able to, help, support students in whatever their post-secondary, needs are.
Yeah.
And like we have students, I'm looking at their credit checks after they've graduated. I'm like, this kid has, 50 something credits, 24 of those are high school, and 20 something of those are college credits. And I'm like, wow, that's a good head start. So not only do we have what everybody sees when they come to visit us, but we also have the opportunity to help students and push them into careers that we might not have on our campus, but will help push them in the right direction and get them those dual credits, and also build a schedule, high school schedule that will allow them the flexibility to take classes when they need to.
That's awesome. Okay, because we're coming to the end of our time, just real quick, how can people schedule a visit to go out there to check it out? Perspective, let's stop. Is that perspective? Let's see.
Perspective.
It wouldn't be perspective. I don't want to sound dumb on the podcast.
I got you. Yeah. Potential.
Okay, so since we're coming to the end of our time here, Josh, how would prospective students, is that the right word? No, it's not.
I would go with potential still.
Okay, potential. Let's go with potential. All right, Josh, now that we're coming to the end of our time, how would potential students schedule a visit to the campus?
So the easiest way to do that would just go to sfps.info and click on schools. It's up at the top, like rightish corner, and look for early college opportunities. And just you'll see my email there. Email me. I'm happy to try to give most of the tours, but if not, like I had mentioned before, we have Diane Pierce. She's our community liaison.
Okay.
And she'll be happy to give a tour. And, sometimes we're lucky enough to have an open house or an event coming up. So we're like, oh, just wait for that. But, again, just go to the website, click on my email address there, and just reach out to me directly and let me know that you're interested in a tour and you have a student, whatever grade they're in. Just give me a little bit of info and maybe a phone number, and then we'll get back to you and we'll set those up. I feel like if it's one at a time, we'll take you.
Yeah.
We like to do groups, but if it's one at a time, we'll take the time to show off what we're doing there, because I think it's important for the word to get out, and it's important for our community, and it's important for students that may be interested, because this might be, the thing that keeps them in school or sparks their interest, or we might have the next leader of whatever business because they were excited about their high school experience.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Yep. Josh Rhine, the ECO principal, joining us today. Folks, thank you for listening. This has been the Inside SFPS podcast. And folks, have a great week. Have a safe week. Adios.